Whenever there is a new S-Class, the entire world sits up and takes notice. But if you think that the S-Class is a little too stately or that its limousine form factor doesn't match your age or your love for driving, then Mercedes-Benz may just have the right car for you. This is the S63 AMG Coupe, a four-seater, two-door coupe based on the S-Class. But apart from that familiar front end, there's hardly any visual resemblance this car has with the S-Class. And under that long bonnet is a 5.5-litre bi-turbo V8, an absolute cracker of an engine. Now the S500 Saloon, that in itself is quite a powerful car, but this engine puts out 585 PS, that's almost 130 more than the regular S-Class. And this coupe weighs 100 kilos lighter. So what does that translate into? 0 to 100 in 4.2 seconds, says Mercedes-Benz. But from where I'm sitting, it feels like I'm perched in this luxurious recliner and everything around me is changing rapidly, like an immersive IMAX experience. This engine comes mated to a 7-speed MCT gearbox. It's not a dual clutch unit, and that is because the boffins at Mercedes-Benz believe that this old-school gearbox can handle ungodly amounts of torque. Why ungodly? Because this car puts out 900 Newton meters of torque. 900! And it's available between 2250 to 3750 RPM. What do you do with so much torque but eat your own tires? Speaking of tires, this is a rear-wheel driven car. Yes, there is the four-wheel drive option too, but considering our not-so-slippery conditions, we don't need it here. The electronics make sure that all the power and torque never becomes too handful for you. Even if you want, you cannot turn off the stability systems. With 900 torque, you want that safety net. But what the torque also translates into is unprecedented pulling capacity and one of the meatiest mid-range grunt that you will ever come across in a luxury car. This car is based on the S-Class after all, so the noise and harshness levels are some of the lowest that you can experience in today's cars. So when you want to arrive at a business meeting looking all prim and proper, you can silently cruise in. But when you want to play Christian Grey, all you need to do is step on the throttle and unleash the AMG beast. But what that torque also translates into is unprecedented pulling capacity and one of the meatiest mid-range grunts that you will ever come across in a luxury car. That AMG soundtrack comes to life with the valves in the exhaust system that let loose the crackling sound. But while the car looks and sounds dynamic on the outside, it maintains its composure on the inside. Enabling this is a technology that Mercedes-Benz likes to call curve tilting. It literally makes the car lean into the corners like a motorcycle. Well, kind of. Up to 2.6 degrees of tilt can be achieved, and while it isn't visible, it translates into negligible body roll and more comfort for the passengers. In a sense, the S63 AMG Coupe is more of a luxurious grand tourer than an outright sports car. And even the design highlights this fact with its long nose and that stubby tail. In its previous life, a Mercedes-Benz Coupe in this size and luxury would be called the CL. It never saw promise in the Indian subcontinent, but now that it wears the popular S badge, it could make sense. To me, this looks like the most beautiful luxury car from the current crop of three-pointed stars. And if I were to have one, it would have to be in a shade of black with the optional black alloy wheels. There are the AMG typical elements like the gaping air dams and cooling ducts and the polygonal exhaust pipes. I'm not a big fan of bling, but then this car has so much appeal that even the 94 Swarovski crystals in the headlamps seem befitting. The sleek taillights look like none of its siblings and highlight the wide body of this coupe. The mix of concave and convex surfaces are now common to all Mercedes-Benz cars, but look particularly good on this coupe. She has a shorter footprint than the S-Class, but at 5 meters in length, it certainly doesn't lack presence. The S63 AMG Coupe hardly has any rivals. The Porsche Panamera GTS maybe, or the S-Class Saloon. But once you look at the form and the stance of this car, the way the cabin is designed, the way everything wraps around you, all those options slowly start dwindling away. Unless, of course, you want to move higher up the chain, look at something like a Bentley Continental GT or an Aston Martin Rapide. Look at the cabin and the Panamera wouldn't even stand a chance. The S63 Coupe proves that the cabin of the S-Class can look equally good in a sports livery as it does in its stately form. The two display panels for the new age command infotainment, the racy leather upholstery, the carbon fiber trim, the AMG wheels and pedals, plush recliners, and the seatbelt butler are just hard to ignore. Of course, there are the coupe downsides too. The rear space isn't very generous for adults, and getting in and out of the car with its low roofline can get cumbersome for taller drivers. The AMG steering wheel feels nice to touch, nice to hold with all this Alcantara, these bolsters, but it refuses to gain significant weight as the speed builds up. As a driver's car, I want all these components to give me feedback, components that connect me to the road. Unfortunately, all that feedback just gets masked under these layers of luxury. It's down to the S badge, which stands for opulence and utter comfort. Of course, there's the AMG badge as well, which is the last word in performance for any three-pointed star. But this coupe is more S than AMG. And I guess I still can't complain, because this car aims at offering you the luxury of the best car in the world with better performance and more speed. And if you think about it, that is the ideal way in which a luxury Grand Tourer should be poised.